Combat Masters is a mobile game that was ported to PC on Steam that is heavily inspired by Modern Warfare 2019. And by heavily inspired, I mean copying as many elements as they possibly can. The only thing they didn't copy was the actual gameplay. Now, Combat Masters is more of a joke than a full-fledged title, but it has been making some noise and I kinda want to dive into it. Playing the game myself, aiming down sights is simply not an option unless you want to feel like you're looking through a paper towel roll. We've all done it, let's not kid ourselves. Which means hipfire is the only reliable strategy the game offers. Pair this with a faster paced movement, bunny hopping, slide cancelling, and air strafing, this game kinda feels like something out of Unreal Tournament. Well, a very poor and foggy reflection of it, all the way down to dying from grenade launchers. One thing I want to make clear right now is that Combat Masters itself doesn't really have a future. Unless you're deep into mobile gaming, I don't see this game breaking out and becoming a good choice for most gamers. However, there has been a trend as of late with arena shooters, and Combat Masters is simply the flavor of the month. Roblox has a user-made arena shooter called Frontlines, which is unfortunately hacker-ridden, at least when I try to play it. But still a decent game on its own. And last month we had XDefiant, which received a lot more positive feedback than negative. And now it's Combat Masters. But why are we here? We already have a game that more or less perfected the modern day arena shooter, that being Call of Duty. Or at least it would be if they had continued to listen to player feedback and create a long-lasting product. Instead, Activision has decided to release a new game year after year, including this year, relying on multiple studios, practically all of them at this point, which leads to mediocre experiences, kill cams that still don't work, server connection issues, and the list goes on. Right now, we are in a weird spot in gaming. Games like Combat Masters should be getting laughed at and delisted from Steam for being a poorly pieced together mobile game. Even 10 years ago with Battlefield 4, we had destruction at such a high level, it hasn't been seen since. The closest thing we've gotten is the upcoming free-to-play game, imagine that, called The Finals. Instead, with there being almost no alternatives at this point, Combat Masters is getting more attention than it deserves. There's also a possibility that Battle Royale games are kind of losing popularity as well. This is going to be very interesting to see what larger games will do. Unlike others, I do like the free-to-play market. It's something that I grew up with. If a game can survive only on cosmetic microtransactions, it kind of opens the door for development to create a very specific experience, be it an extraction shooter, a competitive hipfire shooter like Valorant, a team-based game like Overwatch, or a more standard arena shooter. There's even MMOs nowadays that are coming out that are free-to-play, such as Star Trek Online and Warframe. Meanwhile, we have the largest IP in gaming, Call of Duty, raising their release price to $70 for what reason? Of course, the production value is there, but pretty much everything else outside of that comes into question. In short, when a game is free to play, it has the right development team behind it. We could end up with games that actually relies on player-driven feedback. It's not to say that these projects will take over the gaming space as the casual market is very large, but we can have alternatives that are better in the core gameplay experience. Is Combat Masters that? No, not by any stretch. But Valorant is a great example of this, Fortnite and Apex Legends as well. Apex Legends, in my opinion, has kind of been a sleeper title. It's one of those games that just doesn't go away. If Respawn can fix their server issues and get on top of things, it may never go away. It may even evolve into a more arena shooter type game if the Battle Royale popularity fizzles out. But there isn't a need to make a separate Apex Legends game when they already have everything they need. From the maps to the weapons, characters, and their abilities, there's not really a reason that Apex can't have a standard arena shooter mode. They kind of do have a few of those with Team Deathmatch, Control, and Gunrun, but those are typically on rotation and still has a fairly large amount of players in each mode, and there's no ranked mode option for them. Not that any of those three modes are worth it, but you get the idea. If there's anything we can take away from Combat Masters, it's that gamers are starving for something new to play. Something that is not a battle royale, something that is fast-paced and easy to jump in, play a few rounds, and jump out. As someone who had a job with weird hours, I personally got more fun from playing standard arena shooters before work, as I could get way more games in, unlock items, and have it be worth my time a lot more than trying to squeeze in 1 or 2 battle royale games. So it doesn't come to me as a surprise when I see something like XDefiant receive praise. The only question now is the longevity and which of these games will continue to stay relevant. Only time will tell, but for me, Combat Masters is definitely not one of those games that's going to last. Not on the PC market anyways. So what games are you looking forward to, and what do you think the future of gaming will be? Let me know in the comments below and let's talk about it. Until then, I am Mr. Rain, and I will see you next time.